There we go.
There we go. We are live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the final whistle here on Relaks Radio, where we talk about everything to do with football. There is so much to talk about this week. I'm joined by Murat and Kings. How are we doing today, boys?
We're great. I'm great. I'm great. Really great.
Very well, thank you.
Good stuff.
Very
Good
well,
stuff.
thank you.
So there is so much to talk about this week, like we discussed, like we spoke about.
Precisely.
So to start off with, France, Sweden, and Portugal all out of the tournament so far. So that's three massive teams, two from the other side of the bracket and one from our side of the bracket, all out, and the Netherlands as well.
Did you already say Germany?
That's not a shock exit though, is it? Because we knocked them out.
Where do we start?
Let's start with that France exit, man. Like that.
That's so disappointing.
Oh, Switzerland, man, like the dark horse of the tournament so far.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, that's not. I'm sorry. That's so disappointing. Do you know what it is? I was rooting for France because I was so happy for Benzema. Like, this man hasn't really gotten enough credibility that he should be getting in the past years. Like, he's been coming up so well. And even in that game, he banged 2 goals. I was hoping for a third. I was actually hoping for a third.
True statistic, right?
Yeah. Karim
Benzema is the first player to score 2 goals at the same time. Because he scored at 46-52 in the first half in extra time.
Yeah.
And then after the break, he scored at 46-52 again in the second half. So he scored 2 goals in the same minute, at the same time.
You see what I'm saying? This guy's actually he's absolute class. This guy's actually unbelievable. Like, he's amazing. I don't care what anyone says. Benzema, he actually deserves so many accolades that he hasn't been getting in past years. But just because of the fact that he was playing under Ronaldo, like, obviously Ronaldo, he's the big shot, you know. He does the job, he gets the job done. We know that. But ever since he left, this man said, cool, it's my turn to finally get all the recognition. It's my turn to get all the goals. It's my turn to get all the fame and everything. He's been slapping goals, and he hasn't stopped. He hasn't slowed down. Even given his age, he's not slowing down. That's what makes it crazy. Like,
And then obviously there's let's not forget that absolute shock of killing Mbappe. His heart hit his stomach when the pressure was on him. All he needed was to score that one penalty just to get it to take it to sudden death.
Yeah,
and he missed it. And the thing is, as well, the keeper for Switzerland, I don't even know his name. I'm not going to pretend that I do know his name.
That's Jan Sommer.
He didn't even celebrate the save straight away because he was waiting for VAR to confirm that he was on his line.
You know, VAR has actually damaged the game, you know. VAR has really damaged the game.
No, VAR's quality, man.
No. But, like, come on. Like, there's some aspects. A lot of people have said that VAR has really damaged the game. Like, it slows down the flow. Like, it's not... Like, you could watch old school football and, you know, you'll still be so gripped to the game. You don't have to sit there and wait for people to go and check a computer, you know? I mean, I understand the reason why VAR helps the game because, you know, it will catch things that referees will tend to miss. But, you know, like, people have had their mixed feelings about VAR. A lot bad than good. So,
yeah, I mean, at least we're not going to have any, like screwball moments where, you know, like that Frank Lampard free kick that got denied.
Oh, please. Line. Don't hurt me about that. I remember
it wasn't a free kick, it was a shot.
Oh, was it a
shot?
No,
it was a free kick. Yeah. It was a free kick. I'm pretty sure it was a free kick.
Was it a free kick?
Yeah, it was a free kick. It was a free kick. I remember it went over the line and Neuer quickly just collected it through.
It was like 2 yards over the line, and Neuer just throws it out like it's no. He does like some Superman, like and just whams the ball out of the net.
Like, I still can't believe that happened because I remember they replayed it so many times as well. They replayed that specific part, and I'm thinking, how can you not see the ball has passed the line? Like, you know, like, you blind. I don't know. Like, to me, that was like one of the biggest robberies in 2010 World Cup football. Yeah, in my opinion, robberies.
Yeah, no, I think we got to remember back then. Obviously, it was a lot more harder to see situations like that coming from a linesman or a referee. Obviously, nowadays we've got all the technology and stuff. So back then it was a lot harder. But it patently crossed the line. But it's just one of them things. And in football, you just got to deal with it and come back stronger because stuff like that can can affect you so much to a point where you're not the same team. But I think England have bounced back well and got their revenge a lot against Germany. So I'm sure they'll be chuffed about that.
Yeah, and then obviously, and on the subject of VAR as well, let's talk about the Sweden-Ukraine game, where a VAR decision led to Danielson being sent off, which put Sweden down to 10 men. And do you not remember seeing that? I'm sure it was Danielson that got sent off. I know that there was a red card for Sweden. 1-0 after full time, extra time, and then Ukraine scoring the last minute, like literally the last minute of the game.
Oh, the volley, like literally right in front of goal. Yeah. I remember that. The thing is, on that day, I wasn't actually watching the Ukraine game. I was watching the England game, so I didn't actually have most focus on it. But I did see the goal, and I didn't know that VAR was the reason why Danielson got ruled. There was
a red card in the game, and it was a VAR. They checked the foul when they sent him off for it.
Damn. Yeah. Oh wow, that's kind of cold. That is pretty cold. I'm not gonna lie.
It was a thoroughly deserved red card. Like
you think? You think so? Because I didn't see the challenge. I didn't see again. I wasn't actually watching the game, so I wouldn't be able to give my opinion on that.
Go on, Marat, Mr. Statman, Marat.
Yeah, and I was saying, talking about red cards and VAR. Do you think they got it right last night with the Switzerland Spain game?
I'll be honest. I didn't catch any of the game last night.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
I didn't catch.
I thought it was pretty harsh, to be fair. I think
who's it that got the red card? Who's it? It was Switzerland that got the red card, didn't it?
Yeah, I forgot his name, but I think it was an English ref as well yesterday. Actually, I mean,
fun fact: all the officials for today's game, for the England-Ukraine game, every single official is German.
Yeah,
seriously.
Is this going to be a screwball moment? Are we going to get screwed over?
No, but that's the thing. That can't happen, though. That can't happen. I mean, we can look at it from both sides. Let's look at it from both sides. Given the fact that we know this fact now, there's a possibility that, he may be a bit bitter about the fact that England has knocked out his team. So then he may think of wanting to get some sort of revenge back. And knowing how refs know the handbook, they could probably have their own ways to be able to, get under, find loopholes within the lines, in between the lines.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this is going to happen because at the end of the day, the refs can also lose their job for screwing over big teams in big tournaments like the Euros. Like, come on, it's uncalled for. At the same time, they can lose their jobs. Like, it's not worth it at the end of the day. Like, why mess up a team's chances of being able to progress so much further, especially when they worked hard for it, just because you're petty and you're upset and, you're a sore loser. Get over it. It's football. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's it. And then obviously, if we touching back on the shock exits, let's talk about the Netherlands game.
That was upsetting.
Czech Republic, like a team that we dominated.
Fair play.
Have knocked out a big contender this year.
Yeah, they have. Do you know what? Looking at Netherlands, I really believe that they had so much more of a point to prove, especially when they didn't qualify for the World Cup back in 2018. So I felt as though because they'd been left out, they're like, okay, cool. Yeah. We're gonna make sure that you remember who we are. You know what I'm saying? So since then, it's like, they've just been going at it, like just slapping teams, beating teams left, right, and center. Like you could see their team just getting stronger and stronger. You could see Memphis Depay coming into his shell, coming out of his shell, becoming stronger, like a lot more comfortable in his position. You could see some signs of Matthijs de Ligt as a young centre back and a young leader of Ajax. Like you can see how strong he is. He's like, yeah, I'm taking lead. You can see Wijnaldum was becoming a lot more better as a centre mid, and then that was when he was when he was new to Liverpool. You could see so many signs of Netherlands just trying to become that strong force that wasn't to be reckoned with. Van Dijk was coming into his light. He was coming into his light. Like they were showing signs of being a very, very good team. So seeing this happen was pretty shocking. I'm not gonna lie, very, very shocking.
I mean, I'm gonna take it back to obviously in the little final whistle group chat that we've got.
Yeah.
When Matthijs de Ligt got sent off, obviously last week Marat made a bold statement about Virgil van Dijk being very, very influential to any team.
Yeah.
And then Marak said, and I quote, exactly what I meant by the impact of Van Dijk. My point proven isn't good enough and costed his team badly.
Yeah.
I actually agree with that. Thoroughly agree. 55 minutes in, Matthias de Ligt gets sent off. In the 68th minute, Thomas Hulls gets the first goal for Czech Republic.
I'm so sorry.
Talk about capitalising on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I heard about the challenge as well. Like, it was a very stupid challenge. Like, I didn't see it, but I heard it was Amaret.
Yeah, no, I was saying, I think de Ligt isn't really. I feel like de Ligt is an easy target to point out in that situation, but I know as much as I said that, I don't think he's like the leader and stuff, and how much they miss Van Dijk. I feel like in that game, Netherlands weren't good enough anyway to win the game. So Czech Republic just capitalizing on an opportunity, which, let's be honest, they were the underdog. So when an opportunity like that comes along, you have to take it. The same with Switzerland, how they've been. And I think Czech Republic will go through today as well against Denmark. I think Denmark are a fantastic outfit, but I think Czech Republic's unity and Schick that they've got up top, and a couple of other players like Zuzek that can make a massive impact in the game today. And I think that's going to be an interesting game to watch as well.
Yeah, I mean, just quickly, I've got the stats in front of me for that game just before we go to the break. Netherlands had 6 shots on target, 6 shots with no shots on target. Czech Republic had 12-5.
12-5.
Just goes to show how much of a dominant game that was for the Czech Republic. Anyways, we are gonna take a short break. If you want to get involved in the conversation, you can call us on 07852 473 473, or we are live on Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you've got any comments, leave some below, and any talking points we shall talk about. So we'll be back shortly after this break here on Relaks Radio. You are tuned into the final whistle. Good morning.
Good morning.
One of the easy. One of the easiest ways to increase your net worth is to ensure that you have higher cash flows. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to not buy things on hire purchase, not buy things over months and months because you can't afford them now, but you want it. It's kind of that delayed gratification. Rather than buy that couch, that car, that stereo, that computer, whatever item, and pay it off over 12, 24, 36 months at an interest rate, rather invest that money, make do with what you've got, and then after 12, 24, 36 months, take the money that you've now invested and buy that good. An asset could be anything that appreciates or reduces a tax bill. So it could still be a liability, but it reduces their tax bill. And I'm not going to go into the technicalities because that's out of our remit here. However, for our use or our purpose, what we are talking for the listeners here is I would put this definition of an asset forward. An asset is anything that increases your income. Anything.
Now, there's a lot of conversation around who pays more taxes, if it is the rich or if it is the poor, right? When you are basically going out and during a day, if you go to a restaurant, you have to pay taxes there. If you buy a car, you have to pay taxes there. So why is it even a conversation that, the rich pay less taxes or the poor pay more taxes? Why is it a conversation like that?
Because it's true, the rich generally pay less tax. A rich person walks into a Tesco's or a Sainsbury's, they're not going to get a different bill than another person, right? They're still going to pay the same VAT on those goods. They're still going to pay the same thing. So that's all the same. However, the differences come in if you can pay yourself from your own company, you can structure it in a way that you pay less income tax through paying a bit of salary, paying dividends, and so forth, and then also deferring income. Also, your pension payments or contributions can be different. So that increases your tax sort of gap, if that, if you want to use it that way. Where a PAYE person, just gets paid salary and bonus. And now those are the most highly taxed sources of income in the UK, definitely, in the UK.
Welcome back to the Final Whistle, where we talk all things football. And this year, we're talking about Euro 2020. Now, we're just talking about the shock exits of the teams like France, Portugal, Sweden, and the Netherlands. So let's talk about that Portugal game, Murat, because obviously Portugal were a team that you were thoroughly behind the whole tournament.
Yeah.
From what I didn't catch any of the game, but from what you were telling me, I've just got the stats in front of me now. Portugal were a very dominant team that game. Portugal had 23 shots with 4 shots on target, and Belgium had 6 shots with 1 goal with 1 shot on target. And obviously that one shot on target was converted by Thorgan Hazard in the 42nd minute. So
yeah,
tell me where your head was at.
Yeah, like the stats obviously say Portugal were the dominant team on the day. I think 1 won the goal. 1 it for Belgium, and sometimes that can be the difference. I mean, it was a fantastic goal for me. I think Patricio could have done better, but that's just me saying. Obviously, I'm not a goalkeeper, so that's just me saying that from a fan's point of view. But I think a lot of people would agree with me on this. I don't think Belgium were that great on the day. Like I said, obviously the chances say Portugal were obviously the better team, but they're just going to take the chances, unfortunately. And I think they will look back on it with a lot of regret. I mean, there was a few chances towards the end where Portugal made the changes to bring on like Bruno, João Felix, etc. And it was just one of them days where it just wouldn't go in. If that makes sense.
If the shots
just won it for him, and I did say it.
Yeah, I mean, if the shots on target doesn't shout out that Portugal dominated that game, the possession stats for that game were ridiculous. So Portugal had nearly 60% possession the whole game.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, and Belgium obviously the back line of Belgium we all knew was going to be a force to be reckoned with. We said this last week, but their defence is second to none, which is probably why they're high. Which is why they're ranked the number 1 seed in the whole tournament. However, after this year's performance and after this year's shock exit, I don't see them really being number 1 seed the whole way through. Obviously, we'll talk more about the quarterfinals in a bit, but focusing strictly on the round of 16. Right, so I'll start with you, Kings. To you in the round of 16, what has been like the best? What's been the shock game for you this year in the round of 16?
The shock game for me has been France. That's been France, literally France. Because let me put it to you this way: France, throughout the tournament, France I won't say they've performed the greatest. They haven't had the greatest performance, but they've performed pretty well in terms of going through group stages and managing to get through to the round of 16. You wouldn't have expected. I'm not saying Switzerland is a bad team. Don't get it twisted, because I know that Switzerland have some very good gems that not a lot of people have noticed. And on top of that, Shaqiri. One thing I've noticed is that Shaqiri, whenever it comes to Switzerland, this guy will perform 10 out of 10. This guy always goes in ham for Switzerland.
This is the thing, because Xherdan Shaqiri's put on a pedestal, man. Name me any other Swiss player apart from Xherdan Shaqiri that just comes off the top of your head.
Dennis Zakaria, Mbolo.
He knows his stuff.
Yeah, Gavranovic, Switzerland, Jan Sommer,
Xhaka.
Xhaka, Manuel Akanji. Who else? Oh yeah, Kevin Mbabu. Yeah, I know enough. Oh, Ricardo Rodriguez. How did I forget about him? The left back. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you know, but I mean, the more casual football fans will only really know Xherdan Shaqiri. So Xherdan Shaqiri's put on this ridiculous pedestal where he's expected to perform, and I think if he doesn't perform, it really affects his reputation, especially for someone. I mean, he's at Liverpool now, I think, isn't he?
Yeah, he's at Liverpool. And the thing is, you see, when Liverpool, what's crazy is the fact that when Liverpool bought him, from Stoke, he was doing bits at Stoke. it was a good thing. I feel like it was a good thing and a bad thing that he was purchased from Stoke, because Stoke fell down. But then he went to go and join Liverpool. So in the sense, it was good that he was able to stay in the Prem with Liverpool. But the thing I don't like is the fact that I don't think he plays as much as he should, because the guy is actually an amazing player, in my opinion. I don't think I see him play that much. But then at the same time, I don't think I watch enough of Liverpool to know that. So that's just what I think, you know? I don't hear enough of Xherdan Shaqiri. I don't hear enough of contribution, stuff like that. But, you know, I don't watch enough, so I don't know if my opinion is even qualified. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I mean, since joining Liverpool in 2018, he's made 45 appearances with 7 goals.
There we go. That's in 2 years. Only 45 appearances and only 7 goals. Like, I know Xherdan Shaqiri is definitely worth more than that. He could definitely
he's still in favour.
Yeah,
at Switzerland, which just goes to show the kind of player that Xherdan Shaqiri is.
Exactly. So yeah, when it comes down to shock exits, the most shocking one for me, honestly, was France. Like, to come set, I won't say
the favourite in the tournament at the time.
Yeah, like literally, France to come out was very, very surprising. Switzerland are not a team to be messed around with. Don't get it twisted. I know that they are.
It doesn't really matter now because they're out.
Oh yeah, exactly. It doesn't. But obviously, when they were still in, when they were giving France a run for their money, like, you know, sometimes I still go back over the highlights and think, how did you let this slide? You know, like, how did everything just? You guys were doing so well, and then it just all fell to crap. Like, what happened? You know?
Yeah.
So yeah. That's the most shocking exit for me.
Murat, what about you? What's been like the exit for you that we haven't really spoken about? He's thinking.
I don't think there was any more shock exits. I mean, yeah, no, but obviously, like you lot mentioned, the France one is like the standout. I don't think there was any more shocks in terms of any other game. But I think with the France game,
standouts. I don't know about standouts, because I mean the game that I really want to talk about is the Croatia-Spain game. The 8-goal thriller. The 8-goal thriller.
Yeah.
Let's just take it to, let's just talk about this one a minute, because I think this is a very, very, very big game for us to talk about. Spain were 3-1 up, and then Croatia equalised within the 5 minutes of the game. I mean, Spain did win 5-3 in the end, but in terms of goals, like, there were a lot of goals. I think we've just lost Murat.
Dear.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening there, but we'll just carry on talking. Like,
yeah,
Spain and Croatia was a massive game.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was absolutely crazy. When I was coming back from the gym and my brother called me, he said, you need to put on the highlights. Like, you need to see what happened with France. You need to see this and that. He said, okay, cool. After we watched the France game, because I was still quite gobsmacked, he said, all right, cool, put on the highlights for the Spain game. All I saw was goal after goal after goal. Like, it just was not slowing down. Like,
yeah, the 8-goal thriller, man. Like,
yeah, like, that was a big game. That was a big, like, I feel so upset that I didn't get to watch it. Like, I really wish I could have witnessed that live, you know?
Yeah.
I have my opinions about Spain. I feel as though, looking at Spain, they're kind of, it's kind of dodgy. They're kind of dodgy. Like, they're not great, but they're not bad. Do you get what I mean? Like,
yeah.
If we were to look at Spain, say
2006 World Cup.
Yeah, 2006, even 2010 World Cup, to be honest. 2010 World Cup even. Spain back then were, you could look at them and think, yes, this is a team that you cannot play around with. Like, it doesn't matter what you do. Like, don't even think of trying to talk down on them. They will give you work, you know? Like, back then when they had David Villa playing up top, they had Iniesta, who was still relatively just about coming out of his prime, I'd say, maybe.
Sergio Ramos.
Who was still pretty young then, you know?
Fernando Torres, Diego Costa.
There we go. Like, this team. No, Diego Costa wasn't playing for Spain around then. That's 2010. Diego Costa switched nationality around 2014, 2015. Yeah. Back then, before he was playing for Brazil.
I'm just talking about like when Diego Costa was in his prime, I don't really think he's in his prime. We don't really hear much about Diego Costa anymore, but around that time was when he was in his primes. That's why you instantly.
Yeah, he was playing really well for like I'd say 4, maybe 5 years. Even when he came to Chelsea, he had a really good season as well. And then after that, he just dropped off a bit. So but whilst in Spain, like we're looking back at 2010, I'd say we had Iniesta, Pedro around then was a lot better than he was
Sergio
now.
Busquets as well. Sergio Busquets.
Yeah, Sergio Busquets. Xavi was still on job. Yeah, Piqué. I think Piqué was still quite young then as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, long story short, like Spain aren't the team they were when they won the World Cup. Like, let's be honest. Like, I don't think any team were. I mean, obviously, we ain't the same team, are we? With I mean, the majority of the 66 winning squad aren't with us anymore. But I mean, even Brazil aren't the same team anymore, and they're the second highest seed in the world. Like,
which is crazy.
Just goes to show, like, football changes over time, and I think if Spain are going to do anything this year, I mean, they've got Italy in the next round, which is a tough game for them. They really need to find that drive and motivation that they had in the 2006 World Cup. Because let's not get it twisted. Like, Spain are a good team, but they've scraped through by the skin of their teeth, both in the round of 16 and in the quarters. Like, no one was expecting them. They dominated Croatia. They were 3-1 up against Croatia, and they let 2 goals in. And and because of that, they had to go forego another 30 minutes of football. And let's not forget, like, even 10, 15 minutes of football, extra football, like, that can really fatigue a player. And then it showed against Switzerland, because they went 1-1. So it was a draw, and it went the full 30 minutes, and then they barely got through on the skin of their teeth on the penalties. Yeah. So literally. I mean, against Italy, who have been absolutely dominating this tournament, is it going to show? Is that fatigue? Is that really going to show in that Spain squad?
I believe, you see, with Spain, I believe that team is they're still pretty young. Yeah, like there's so much, like they have so much expertise they need to learn. Like, look at Ferran Torres. He's proven himself to be a killer. Like, he's literally trying to prove himself to be a killer. Like, ever since he moved over to City, his performance hasn't even dipped. Like, he's still been at a constant. He's moving up slowly. He's not huge. Do you know what I mean? So, Ferran Torres, like, you could see some of the young players there. Pedri, a lot of people have really expressed how intelligent he is on the ball, you know? So there's that. But in my opinion, I feel as though they're too young. Like, there's a lot more expertise they need in big games and big tournaments, you know?
Yeah, cool. Right, so we're going to take a quick break. If you want to get involved in the conversation, you can call us on 07852 473 473. Alternatively, we are live on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and on Twitch. If you've got any comments, leave them below, and we shall pull up any comments and talk about them. You're listening to The Final Whistle here on Relaks Radio, and we'll see you after this short break. Good afternoon. Or good morning. There we go.
Oh, yeah, it's still good morning.
Now, there's a lot of conversation around who pays more taxes, if it is the rich or if it is the poor, right? But when you are basically going out and during a day, you go to a restaurant, you have to pay taxes there. If you buy a car, you have to pay taxes there. So why is it even a conversation that, the rich pay less taxes or the poor pay more taxes? Why is it a conversation like that?
Because it's true, the rich generally pay less tax. A rich person walks into a Tesco's or a Sainsbury's, they're not going to get a different bill than another person, right? They're still going to pay the same VAT on those goods. They're still going to pay the same thing. So that's all the same. However, the differences come in if you can pay yourself from your own company, you can structure it in a way that you pay less income tax through paying a bit of salary, paying dividends, and so forth. And then also deferring income. Also, your pension payments or contributions can be different. So that increases your tax sort of gap, if you want to use it that way. Where a PAYE person just gets paid salary and bonus. And now those are the most highly taxed sources of income in the UK, definitely, in the UK. We've seen it, right? If an owner of a large public traded company does something wrong, irrelevant of what that company does or how valuable that company is, the stock generally falls into a pool of nothing, right? Because in a public company where the stock is traded openly on the stock exchange, the value of that stock is driven by supply and demand, it's driven by emotion, it's driven by news, it's driven by quite a lot of variables over and above the actual accounting or total net worth of that company. I mean, we've seen it, right? If an owner of a large public traded company does something wrong, irrelevant of what that company does or how valuable that company is, the stock generally falls into a pool of nothing, right? And the company may still have value, it may still be doing quite a good thing.
Welcome back to the final whistle here on Relaks Radio, where we talk about everything football. Now, during the break, on the little platform that we're using, Murat made a very, very bold statement. And he thinks that Italy will succumb to Spain and be knocked out. Murat, do you care to elaborate on that, mate? Because I think you are absolutely insane.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned this because, like you guys mentioned, there's a few players Spain have in that midfield and going forward who... I think for me, Pedri is going to be like the equivalent of Xavi going forward. I think he's a fantastic player, and I think Barcelona have an absolute wonder kid on their hands. And from the signs that he's shown this year for Barcelona and how he's like a prime example for Saka or like a Smith Rowe for me, because he's gone into that Barcelona team, and let's be honest, like you can't just walk into that Barcelona team and perform week in, week out. And I think Pedri's done exactly that. And for what I enjoy watching about him the most is his flair on the ball and what he can do with it. And I think his passing, like I said, reminds me a lot of Xavi. And I think he does have a bright future ahead of him. I mean, the only criticism I have of Spain is that they do have a mistake in them, as we saw yesterday, for Switzerland to get back into the game. But as long as they shore up that defense a little bit, and for me, they have probably one of the most underrated defensive midfielders for the last 10, 15 years in Sergio Busquets. He's been at that level for Barcelona for so many years now. And I think he's another similar situation to Benzema, where he doesn't get looked at because he's had so many good players in front of him, like Xavi, Iniesta, Pedro, Messi, etc. And I think a lot of the time his position gets overshadowed because of the likes of Messi and whoever I mentioned. So he's going to have a massive part to play. I think his experience is going to be vital. I think, like you said, Kings, a lot of the Spain squad are young, but I feel like some of the experienced heads in there can definitely make a difference for them. And I do fancy Spain, I really do, because I think on their day they can beat anyone. So it will be an interesting one to see.
Okay, that's an interesting point to be made, to be fair. I mean, I don't give it complete discredit, but I feel as though playing Spain against against Italy, we're looking at a very understand this, we're looking at a very seasoned Italy. And the thing is, Italy has they have their balance for players that have played with experience in big games in comparison to players that are still relatively new. It's a very good balance. Like, look at Donnarumma. He's still relatively new to the scene of big game football. Like, he has played a very long time with Milan, and he's still relatively quite young.
He's 23. He's 23 years old.
Yeah, that's still pretty young. Well, considerably young, given how long he's been in the game for. Like, I think I remember him being in the game since I'd 17. Like to say, 17. There we go. So we're looking at almost 4 years now. Almost 4 years. So He's been in the game for so long, and he's played recently. He's been playing some big game football. Like before then, it was Gianluigi Buffon. He was taking on the reins, and he still has a bit of lumber in him. Like even though he's quite old, he could still be jumping about. He's still got a bit of a step. Now he's taken on that big game role for international football and playing in the Euros. He's still relatively quite young. We've got Nico Barella, who's still like quite fresh to the scene of international football. Who else do we have? Di Lorenzo, who I've personally never heard of, the right back. I've never actually heard of him, but apparently he's also quite fresh onto the scene as well. He only just got recognition recently. And then for the rest of the squad, the majority of them are seasoned. You know, they've played in big tournaments before. They've had that experience. And not to mention, Italy haven't actually lost a game in 2 years. They've gone
competitive games,
I'll be honest with you, like 100% I agree with you. Italy are going to be the favourites, but I think in this tournament there's been so many surprises, and I think it might favour Spain being the underdog. Like let's not like beat around the bush. Spain do have the quality to beat any team on their day. even now, I think obviously the likes of Morata, Ferran Torres.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, Pedri, Busquets, like Laporte at the back, and then Unai Simon, who made a few good saves yesterday. I think they do have the quality there. And I think, like I said, I think Spain might prefer to be the underdogs in this game. And like we've seen in this tournament, guys, anything can happen. So I do feel like Spain can 100% do it. And I feel like Italy's back line hasn't really been tested that much.
I mean, but
even in the Belgium game as well yesterday, I don't think it was tested that much.
I mean, King's made a valid point that this Italy squad that we're seeing is seasoned. They've got the likes of Lorenzo Insigne, Immobile, Giorgio Chiellini, who is even at 30, I think he's like 36, and he's still doing bits. Like
exactly. Like the one thing I like about Giorgio Chiellini is the fact that even though he's not the fastest centre back, he's so defensively intelligent that he can still stop someone that's quicker than him. He can still, it doesn't matter how much space he gives him, he knows how to lock down that defensive spot. That's the reason why I really like him so much. And not to mention as well, Italy have also found a very, very beautiful dead-eye finisher in Federico Chiesa. Federico Chiesa has had such a serious come-up, even playing for Juve and for Italy as well. He has been incredible, in my opinion. He's been incredible. So,
23 years old as well, so this kid's got a bright future ahead of him. Let's not forget as well that we can still see. We made a comment about him last week. We can still see El Shaarawy make an appearance at some point in the tournament. Anything happens in football, mate. Anything happens in football.
Is he part of the squad? Yeah,
he is. He's part of the 32-man squad that Eddie put out, yeah.
Okay.
Leonardo Bonucci as well. Giovanni Di Lorenzo. Matteo Pessina. Like they've got all these players, all this quality. And I mean, the Spain squad, you have to remember as well, the Spain squad are playing under technically like a new manager. Like this is his first competitive tournament.
Like, that's pretty crazy, isn't it?
It's a first competitive tournament. I think it's for Xavi. Like it's gonna be not Xavi. Who is the Spain head coach? He's Xavi, isn't it?
I thought it was what's his name?
No, not Xavi.
Luis
Enrique. Yeah, sorry, but it's a first competitive tournament for him. But there hasn't been a World Cup under him. The dynamic changes drastically under these pretenses because there is silverware at stake at this. Friendlies and these qualifiers, they're completely irrelevant when it comes to this kind of thing because this is the bread and butter of football. This is the competitive side of football, and this is where we're going to see the shock results and the shock and the players that actually come through and actually perform. Like I had money on Kevin De Bruyne being one of the leading goal scorers this year. And he did nothing in terms of goals.
That's a waste of money.
Yeah. Even who would have thought that Thomas Muller, right? Again, we'll talk about the England game now. Who would have thought that Thomas Muller, who has been a pain for England to deal with, who scores against us every single time, in that game. Yeah. The one time he needed to score a goal and he bottled it. He bottled it bigger than anything. Like,
yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I called it. I said that he's gonna miss it. I just felt like on the day everything was going England's way, and I think England's performance was fantastic on the day. And I just had that feeling that he would miss. I really did, and I said, because me and my dad was having a debate where he thought Germany might get an equalizer, but I literally said it to him when he was 1-on-1. I was like, he's gonna miss. And thankfully,
the pressure was on him though, because he was 1-on-1 with the keeper, but he had 3 players chasing him as well. Like,
yeah, and I mean, Kyle Walker's not the slowest of people anyway, so
no, I know,
he's like a bloody steam train him. So
I just wanted to tear away from the England Germany game, because obviously that's going to be a big talking point. I don't really want to talk about it for 3 minutes and go to a break. So
yeah.
I'll quickly just go over the results of the last 16, because there was one other game as well for me. It wasn't really a shock that they lost, but Denmark absolutely slapping Wales.
Yeah,
I didn't think Wales were going to get through, but I didn't see it being a whitewash like that. But that
what was the score of that game? I didn't watch it. 4-0.
4-0.
Oh, that is ugly. Oh my goodness.
I remember watching that game, and I remember mentioning last week, I think Wales were one of the sort of, not dark horses, but a team to look out for. But I think the reason why Wales' success has been so good over the last couple of years is because of Gareth Bale and Aaron Ramsey. I feel like if them two don't turn up, then that whole team doesn't turn up, and I think them two have such an influence on that team. Yeah. Like I said, if them two don't turn up or put in half a decent performance, I feel like the whole team collapses, and unfortunately, again, they weren't at their best on the day, and Denmark just took full advantage of it. And like I said, I think Denmark has got a great squad. To be honest with you, I didn't really deep it that much how much of like a decent squad they have, but I think it'll be a good game against Czech Republic today. But I think Czech Republic's team spirit and the run that they're on at the moment, I think they might just edge it. Hopefully,
yeah. I mean, it obviously really hurt Gareth Bale as well. Obviously, because in the post match interviews, Gareth Bale was asked if this was his last tournament, and he walked away from the interview. Like, so you could tell it really got to him that this could potentially be the last time we see Gareth Bale at an international tournament.
It might be. It very well.
How old
might
is
be.
he now? Is
32.
He like 31?
32.
32. Wow. Yeah, possibly. I mean, we might see him at the World Cup next year if Wales qualify. But
well, there we go. That's all to be seen. After the break, we're going to talk about the England and Germany game where England won 2-0. And we're also going to talk about the chances of England actually bringing football home. So
maybe.
You're listening to the Final Whistle here on Relaks Radio. If you want to get in touch, you can call us on 07852 473 473. Or if we're live on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram and Twitch, leave a comment and we'll pull your comments up and we'll talk about anything that you wish to talk about. So you're listening to the Final Whistle here on Relaks Radio. We'll be back after this short break. Good morning.
Climb Mount Everest. That is one of that's in my bucket list. You're laughing, but that is the facts right there. I'd love to do that. That is something I'm looking forward to do, hopefully.
Climb Everest.
Mount Everest. I mean, okay, not the very tip of Mount Everest, maybe the base camp at least.
They're talking about mental health. Well, if you went out and got some exercise in the fresh air, that will improve your mental health. It will make you feel better.
That's true. That is true. I wholeheartedly agree. But then for some people, it's how do you find the motivation to, especially when it comes to riding a bicycle, to do it again and again and again and again? It's a cycle that you have to be used to. How do you do it? What makes you wake up in the morning and decide, hey, I'm going to pick my bike up today. I'm going to cycle. What makes you want to do that?
What makes me want to do that?
Yeah. What do you like? What could you give listeners, like people listening in right now? What kind of tip could you give them?
Well, the first tip I would give them, if you haven't tried it before, try it. It can open up new horizons. It will make you fitter. It will definitely make you fitter. Cycling is one of the best forms of aerobic exercise you can do.
It sounds like, I mean, if you think about it, it sounds like great fun. Because what essentially you're trying to say is also at the same time, when you, if you look at it from this perspective, with regards to mental health, especially when you look at it with mental health, this is another way to fight it. I feel like you go outside, you meet more people, you interact with, socially, you'll interact with more people, and you're keeping fit, you're making connections, you're breathing in the good and exhaling the bad. I feel like that's a great thing right there.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got a better way with words than I have, I'll tell you. But you're quite right. What you say there. You're quite right.
I mean, I've been doing this for quite some time. I mean, hey, you'll get the hang of it.
I've been doing it for about 10 minutes now, so yeah.
That I can never really understand people staying in one room the whole day when you can have the world to see. I am a traveler. I travel. I love traveling. Traveling is just one of the things I do. And on top of my bucket list was, to one time, hopefully when I get there, go to Nepal and climb Mount Everest. That is one of that's in my bucket list. You're laughing, but that is the facts right there. I'd love to do that. That is something I'm looking forward to do, hopefully.
Climb Everest.
Mount Everest. I mean, okay, not the very tip of Mount Everest, maybe the base camp at least.
Base camp, yeah.
At least.
Would you be able to cycle there?
Oh.
Welcome back to the Final Whistle, where we talk all things football. I'm joined by Kings and Murat, and in this show, so far we spoke about the shock exits and the shock results of this year's round of 16, and now let's talk about one of the most important games that we have ever seen to ever grace Wembley Stadium. Is the repeat of England versus Germany, where England come out victorious with a 2-0 victory. Goals by Raheem Sterling and Harry Kane in the second half saw England go through to the quarterfinals, where we will play either Denmark or Czech Republic. If we get through tonight, where we play against the Czech... when we play Ukraine. Got there in the end. My bad boys. So, let's talk about that game, because obviously for me, the first half was a little bit hit and miss. It was a little bit dire. But then, I mean, I saw a meme on Facebook, and it rings very, very true. How to win a game of football. Step 1, kick a ball around for 60 minutes. Step 2, bring on Jack Grealish. Step 3, win. Jack Grealish made a massive impact that game.
Yeah.
I promise you.
Yeah.
Go on, Murat.
Yeah. I was going to say, like you said, the first half was a bit, back and forth. Nothing was really happening, but you saw the impact that Jack Grealish makes. And as I stated last week, the guy is worth 100 million. I don't care what anyone says. The impact that he's had for England in this competition, and the way he's played for Aston Villa over the past year or even 2 years, he's fantastic for Villa.
It might not be a Villa player for much longer, because reports from Fabrizio Romano have said that he has been told that he's allowed to leave this summer if he wishes.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you know that Fabrizio Romano don't miss. He don't miss with
Fabrizio Romano is perhaps one of the most trusted sources to ever grace the journalism side of football.
Yep, that man does not miss.
I'm a Spurs fan, right? So there's a YouTube. I'm a Spurs fan. Shut up.
I don't know.
There's a YouTube channel that I watch, and hopefully at some point I can bring him on as a guest. His name's Chris Cowlin, and he does a Spurs podcast, and he actually has Fabrizio Romano come on to his show quite a lot. And when there were talks of us getting Frank de Boer as our manager, talks of Scott Parker becoming our manager, Fabrizio Romano instantly went, no, that's not happening. Nuno Espirito Santos will be announced as your manager. And this was like 2 weeks ago. And boom, long and behold, we have Nuno Espirito Santos as our manager now. Mm-hmm. So Fabrizio Romano, scraping the bottom of the barrel. But again, like we're going off on a tangent. But I mean, when it comes to Spurs, you could have any manager you want. You could have the greatest manager on earth, but Daniel Levy is always at the wheel, and we will always fall short. That's just how it is. So I mean, going back to the England-Germany game, obviously, Raheem Sterling, 3 goals in 4 games.
Yep.
And then Harry Kane got the goal that he needed. And hopefully this is where we see the dry spell of Harry Kane finally come to an end and he starts banging these goals in. Where are you boys on that?
Well, I just like to say big up my boy Sterling, because right now he's actually leading the whole tournament in scoring for England. So come on, like we need to. So many more people need to give this man credibility, because I cannot lie.
I
Guy is
love
on
Raheem
job.
Sterling.
He is
Absolutely love
absolutely on
Raheem
job.
Sterling. And obviously, there were a lot of talks about what when obviously Southgate put his squad out. A lot of people were like, "Why is Raheem Sterling in this squad? He's had a really, really bad season." That's why he's in this squad.
There we go. He's proven himself. One thing I love about Sterling is the fact that he doesn't care how big you are. He will go at you like you're the same size. He will
Always remains
go at you
humble
exactly the same
as well.
size.
He always remains humble as well.
Yeah. One thing I love about his feet, he's able to find ways into the box. If he ain't scoring, he's managing to find at least a decent pass to make a goal chance. Like Sterling is just capable. He is capable of being able to put that strike force on his back alone if he's able to take it on. If he wants to take on, he will take it on. Like, he does not shy away from the challenge. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, obviously we do see a bit of a bite from we see a bite from people like Grealish. Like, one thing I love about Grealish as well is the fact that he is not the fastest player, but he will cut in on you. And when he cuts in, he will cut in well. He manages to find that assist. And one thing I love about Grealish is the link-up play he's had with Sterling. You see the assist he got from Sterling when he put it up in the air for him and managed to get a header out of him. He also managed to get the same assist off of Harry Kane in the Germany game. Like, this is one thing I love about just seeing the link-up play between those two and just Grealish and the strike force. So looking at Sterling is just beautiful. He's just an amazing player. For me, he's actually an amazing player. He's quick, fast. He's got a very nice agile touch. He's flary and he can finish. Like, I don't know what else you want more from a forward, you know?
No, exactly. And this is why I think that Raheem Sterling is a very pinnacle member of that squad.
Yeah, I also agree.
You can sit there and say that he hasn't had the best season. We all know he hasn't had the best season. His form took a really big dip this season. But when it really matters, Raheem Sterling will always perform.
Agreed.
Marat, you had your hand up like a child in school. What was you going to say?
Yeah, I think, like I obviously said, I think it was a fantastic performance from England, and there's like, obviously Sterling had a fantastic game, but I think there's another player that doesn't get talked about a lot who had another fantastic game for England, and that's Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw again. Like, going forward, that guy is so good, and the ball that he put into Sterling, that he just couldn't miss. And I feel like there's so many occasions where Luke Shaw is involved in pretty much every England goal, and he's always had a part to play in every goal. So I think he deserves a lot of credit for what he's doing, and long may it continue. I remember Southgate saying after the game that all this work can be undone if we don't win against Ukraine. So the job isn't done, and I think a lot of the players know that. Obviously, a lot of the England fans were happy. We was all happy, but the job is not done yet. We've got the toughest game out of the way, in my opinion, and now we have to press on and hopefully send out a message tonight against Ukraine.
Yeah. In terms of, like I said, the message against Ukraine, obviously, like one thing that's happened during obviously this tournament is Man United have finally secured a deal for Jadon Sancho. Are we going to see that transfer get to his head and he make stupid decisions? Because I personally feel like that making that kind of move during a massive tournament isn't really the right idea. Isn't really good. Which is why a lot of players like Harry Kane and Jack Grealish, they've all put their futures on hold until after the tournament. Where
they haven't answered yet. Like, they haven't answered.
They haven't answered yet. But Man United and Borussia Dortmund have agreed a deal for Jadon Sancho, and it is all but confirmed.
That's the thing. I don't like that transfer. If I'm being honest, I do not like that transfer. I feel like that transfer shouldn't have happened. Jadon Sancho should not be going to the likes of United. And if I'm going to be very honest with you, the reason being is because Borussia Dortmund are definitely Sancho fits so well with Borussia Dortmund. If I'm honest, I feel like he should have at least spent maybe another season there, maybe another 2 seasons there before leaving, because he was achieving so much at Borussia Dortmund.
But do you really rate Dortmund over? Do you really rate United over Dortmund? Because I think it's the other way around. I think Dortmund would give Man United a slap. to be honest.
No, that's what I'm saying. Dortmund would give Man United a slap. That's what I'm saying. I feel like he should stay. No. And let me tell you the reason why. We're seeing a bottle job in David De Gea that Man United refused to release. So far, the only players I can actually give credibility to on that Man United squad is Rashford, Luke Shaw,
Lingardinho. Obviously, he plays for West Ham, but he's still a Man United player.
Yeah, that's about Lingard's doing well since he left Man United, and he's been doing his job for West Ham.
Okay. So on a subject to Jesse Lingard, obviously he was left out of the England squad, which I think was a travesty. I reckon he definitely should have been involved.
Yeah.
Are we going to see him go back to United, or do you think West Ham are going to make a
hold on a minute
move for him?
Hold on. You say that he's been left out, yeah. But who would you take out the squad right now to put?
I don't know. I don't know, but he's had a really, really good season.
Yeah, he has. But I think the squad that he's got there is perfectly fine. Unfortunately for him, he's missed out. I mean, like you said, he's had a fantastic season. But I think the reason why Southgate didn't pick him because the later stage of the season he wasn't performing as well as he did in.
Are you joking? Are you joking? The guy was pinnacle to West Ham getting a Europa League place. What are you talking about?
That is true.
Didn't you see the later stage of the season though? He fell off a bit.
Fallen off or not? When you make that much of an impact, who would have thought West Ham would have got into this season after struggling last season and almost get champions? Where's King's gone? There he is.
Yeah,
Lingard
comes in and he gets West Ham European football.
Listen. I'm not discrediting what he's done. Like he's had a fantastic season, but for me, there's better options in England squad that are in there now. So, and going on to the Sancho situation about the transfer, I understand where you guys think it's wrong, but Sancho hasn't been starting every game. For him to say no or say, I'm going to decide my future after the tournament, he hasn't played.
What I'm saying is his head going to be in the England squad?
No, 100%. But his head wouldn't have been in there anyway because he hasn't been starting. So I think that's a pinnacle factor in why the transfer has gone ahead.
What I'm saying, if he wants to start football, if he wants to start in the starting 11, he's getting this move midway through the tournament the best idea because I don't see it being the best idea.
No, but let's be honest though.
I still disagree with it.
The agents deal with everything anyway. So he's not going to have any involvement in it. Obviously, he's going to.
He still needs to agree. He still needs to agree.
Of course. But most of the time, the agents agree with all this stuff, and I get what you lot are saying. But I think he's a professional, and I think he will put that aside when he starts playing. This is the thing: he's not playing at the moment. So does he have to think he can think about it as much as he wants? So.
Yeah, well, we'll continue this. We'll continue this discussion after the break. So we're going to take a quick 3-minute break here on. You're listening to the Final Whistle here on Relaks Radio, where we talk all things football. If you want to get in touch with the studio, you can do so by calling us on 07852 473 473. We are also live on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. If you've got any comments, leave them down below, and we will talk about any comments that you bring up. So you are listening to the Final Whistle here on Relaks Radio, and you're listening to the Final Whistle here on Relaks Radio. We'll be back after this short break. Good morning.
And it gives them something to look at, and it makes them laugh. It makes them laugh, so that's why I do it.
Oh, and it could be a really good pickup line as well. Ladies who ask, "Hey, excuse me, so why are you wearing something so colorful?" I mean, hey, you can always have something up on your sleeve. I mean, got me thinking. You want to stand out. Why do you want to stand out though so much, especially with these kind of shirts when you're writing? There must be a purpose behind it, right?
Well, when you say a purpose, Nick, what I do, I wear the shirts. Mainly, one, because they're nice and bright, so they make me visible, especially if I'm riding on the road.
Okay. That's very important, right? Because you want cars,
very important. And also, like people see me in like calves, and perhaps I shouldn't be saying this on here, I suppose, but in the bar afterwards.
All right.
And it gives them something to look at, and it makes them laugh. It makes them laugh, so that's why I do it.
Oh, and it could be a really good pickup line as well. Ladies who ask, "Hey, excuse me, so why are you wearing something so colorful?" I mean, hey, you can always have something up on your sleeve. I mean, you look like a guy who would do.
You know me too well. You know me too well, Nick.
out of there.
I was basically going absent.
Welcome
Andre, you better
back.
go quick.
Welcome back
Yes,
to
they
the
will be able to
final
see you.
whistle here on Relaks
No, they
Radio.
can't. Let me see if I walk.
Welcome back to the final whistle here on Relaks Radio, where we talk all things football. So just before the break, we were talking about the England and Germany game, 2-0. When obviously we went on a little bit of a tangent about Jadon Sancho and that
Yes.
transfer.
Yes, I still don't agree with it. Honestly, I really do not agree with it. And let me give my opinion as to why I do not agree with it. Number one, Borussia Dortmund, in terms of European football, they definitely propel so much further than United. Like, we have seen United on paper, they are a very good squad. Like, you know, we just look at them on paper. Rashford, Martial, Pogba, Bruno Fernandes, Luke Shaw, Lindelof, Maguire, I don't even know, Wan-Bissaka, De Gea, you know, just to name a few players. They look pretty good just on paper. Now, if we look at the team and how they perform just on the pitch, majority of their goals have come from penalties this season. That's not even any word of a lie. Majority of their goals have come from penalties. And in terms of just genuine ability, we've seen them play well, but they can never seem to break past that threshold of being able to continue their good performances. Do you know what I mean? Like, they can play Champions League football, but then it'll get to a point where for some reason it looks like they don't want it no more. Now all of a sudden they want to play Europa League. And even in the Europa League, they still manage to bottle that. How does Man United, a team of players where majority of people in the world know these people's names, lose to a Villarreal? Was it Villarreal? Villarreal side.
Yep.
How do they lose to a Villarreal side that came 7th in the La Liga? How is that possible?
Because Villarreal are a very, very good team. That's why.
That's the thing. I definitely know that they're a very good team. Like, I've seen how they've been able to perform together just as a team. But you look at Villarreal and then you compare them to Man United. Who exactly are you putting up on a pedestal there? Just without even just watching the game, who exactly, in your opinion, like straight up?
All I'm gonna say to that is money is the root of all evil. It's because Man United have got the money to do things like this. I mean, we've seen it with Paul Pogba. Like, is he really worth the £80 million that Man United paid for him? No, he's not. He really isn't. And now Pogba's in the last year of his contract. I don't think he's going to sign again. Is he going to go back to Juve? Is he going to go back? Is he going to go to Spain? Is he going to go somewhere in France? Who knows? But I don't think we are going to see the same Paul Pogba that was running rings around an Italian backline like we did at Juventus again. It's like if Cristiano Ronaldo returns to Man United for the final year of his career, like the rumors are saying, it isn't going to be the same Ronaldo again.
Yeah, literally, it won't be. It will not be the same Ronaldo. But
you've got to take into consideration as well. Ronaldo has gone from the Premier League, moved to Spain because it was better suited for him. Noticed he was slowing down just that tiny little bit, and has gone to Italy where the football is slow paced. Is he really going to come back to England where we have the most back and forth game and still be the same Ronaldo we saw those years ago? I don't think so. He
wouldn't be able to, especially given as, like, one thing I've seen about Ronaldo is the fact that he doesn't necessarily, I won't say slow down. I say with Ronaldo, the way he is like the man ages. He ages like fine wine. A lot of people say that people age at fine. He ages at fine. He gets better with time, but he can see that he's slowed down. So his IQ's become a lot tougher. It's become a lot stronger. So he's now playing a lot more smart. He's playing smarter. He joined the Serie A because he can see that the game in Serie A is a lot slower than it would be in the La Liga or than it would be in in the Prem. So he's joined there, and he's now tried to figure out ways in terms of being able to make the team around him a lot better. You know, he's got that leadership trait with him where he knows how to be able to push and motivate the team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I'd love to get Murat's input on this. Obviously, like, where do you stand in all this?
What are we talking about? Sorry, I don't know where we're at.
Yeah, sorry. So we're literally just saying, like, money is the root of all evil. That's why this Jadon Sancho move's gone through. 350 grand a week, by the way, which makes him the second highest paid Man United player in the squad.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm being deadly serious. £350,000 a week.
Man.
Like I said, Man United have got the money. We've seen it with the likes of Paul Pogba, who is in the final year of his contract. Where are you at with this? Obviously, we touched on Ronaldo as well. Like Ronaldo making rumours that he's going to finish off his career at Man United. It isn't going to be the same Ronaldo. Paul Pogba, £80 million Man United paid for him. I haven't seen the value for money there at all. Where do you sit on that?
For me, in terms of the value for money for Pogba, I think he plays a lot better for France. As we saw in this Euros, he was unbelievable for them. But I think, like Roy Keane always says, that he always wants to see more from Pogba, because I think we all know that he's got the talent, and he's got, on his day, he can be unstoppable. So it's just a case of. So I feel like it was the same with Ozil, where he wasn't consistent enough, and I think Pogba probably fits underneath that bracket as well. So for me, I think he is worth the money that they paid for him. Obviously, in today's market, you're going to get a lot more for him. So, then sell-on value is going to definitely, they're not going to lose any money, in my opinion.
Okay, so my next question would be, if he's in the final 12 months of his contract with no signs of actually renewing, where are we going to see him go after this tournament? Is he going to go back to Italy? Is he going to go to France? Is he going to go to Spain?
I think he'll stay.
You reckon he's going to stay United?
Yeah, I think they're bringing in Sancho.
Even if he falls out of favour to someone like Sancho.
No, but he's not.
I don't think he'll fall out of favour.
They're two different positions. Let's not forget that. And
don't forget, just Sancho can play the middle, though, can't he? He can play the middle.
He can play anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, the
guy's really young as well. Personally, I think Man United would have been better off signing Jude Bellingham, but that's just me.
Oh, that is a big statement.
I think for me, United's needed a winger for a few years now. I think they've needed a winger that's going to run at players and cause them problems and get balls into that box. And I think Jadon Sancho is a perfect example of someone that can do that. And I'm excited to see him in the Premier League. Obviously, I know it's for United, but I'm excited to see him in the Premier League. I think this is the right time for him now. I think Dortmund, it's a tough one with Dortmund, because this season in the league that they haven't done that great. Obviously, they won the FA Cup of Germany. They had a good one in that, but in the league, I think they were too inconsistent, and I think Haaland will end up leaving next year, if not this year. Now that
he's linked to Chelsea, isn't he?
Yeah, I've been hearing about that.
I think Sancho's transfer to Man United has definitely come at the right time. Obviously, they paid a lot less for him than what they were trying to get for him last year. So
£80 million they've agreed.
And I think last year was like 113, 114 million. So they've saved themselves a bit of money.
Touching back on that England game, obviously, like one player that really stood out for me in that whole game, and I normally sit here and I slate him because I call him an £80 million fridge. Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire. First game back in the England squad after going through that injury, and he was on point.
Do you know what? I don't like Harry Maguire at all. To be honest, me and you both, we sit in the same boat when it comes to Harry Maguire, because I literally just call him a complete fraud. Like throughout the whole throughout the whole league, I've just wondered, why on earth did Man United pay 80 million for this player? Like, he is not good. But
the world's most expensive fridge, ladies and gentlemen, Harry Maguire.
Don't let him hear that.
I think with Maguire is that against Germany, he didn't really come up against a striker. If I'm completely being honest, I think
it's his first competitive game. He's been out injured, dude. Like he's only just started training with the England squad again.
For me, I think a lot of people give him a lot of stick, but I don't think he's as bad as everyone says that he is.
He gets a lot of stick because he's the Man United captain, and he deserves the stick if they don't perform well.
Yeah, and that's the thing. This is the thing. Like they give him, if anything, they give him too much stick because he's the Man United captain and he's this and he's that. But I don't think he's as bad as people make him out to be.
If you're the face of a squad, ultimately, it's going to fall onto your hands. Like. It's the same as any workplace. Like, consider the captain of that team, the manager of that team, as such, in terms of like the real life workplace. If there's a problem, they're going to take it out on your manager. So in the essence of football, if something goes wrong, they're going to take it out on the captain. The guy that's actually supposed to be running the team on the field.
Yeah, in terms of like him having to take the stick. I think he's over like the last year or so. I think he's dealt with it quite well because, like I said, Maguire, I think it's the same with him, like the inconsistency from him as well. I mean, Man United had a great season this year, in my opinion. Obviously, they're back in the Champions League, and I know you said Sancho is on like 350 grand a week, but they can afford it again because they're back in the Champions League. So, and that's why I think another reason why Pogba is going to stay, because like the board are sending out a statement to him to say, look, like we're signing Sancho, we're trying to get this team to be better than it was last year, and now that they're in the Champions League, they are going to need a lot more quality. And I think so I think going forward this year that they are going to be a dangerous team. So
okay, touching back on the England squad, I want to know. Obviously, we spoke about one particular player last week and the fact that he's been starting in an off role, and he started in an off role again this week when he started at right mid, and that's Kieran Trippier. Where are we at with that? I think he played that absolutely brilliantly.
Kieran flipping Trippier. Where do we start with Kieran flipping Trippier?
He played behind Saka.
Yeah, yes, he did. He's
performed well.
Like I said before, I'm not surprised because Southgate has got a lot of trust in him, and he's been in Southgate's squad now.
Southgate's brain in this game is ridiculous. Anyone that sits there and tells me that Southgate isn't the right man for the England job, name me another manager who is right. Southgate is undeniably one of the greatest managers to ever grace that England squad since Alf Ramsey did in '66.
Seriously?
Right? Yeah, 100%. You name me another manager that's taken England that far.
But fair enough. I mean, to be honest, I remember maybe last week I remember saying I preferred Fabio Capello over Gareth Southgate.
It's taken what 60 years? 60 years for the older generation to finally believe in that England squad again, what Southgate has done. And I guarantee if Southgate's contract doesn't get renewed after the 2022 World Cup, that's an absolute shambles. We're going to take a quick break here on the final whistle. We'll be back after this short break. If you want to get involved in the conversation, you can do so by contacting us on 07852 473 473. Alternatively, we are live on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. So leave a comment down below and we'll pull up your comments on screen. We'll be back after this short break here on the final whistle. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, indeed.
The valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday. And what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. What am I saving or investing for? Why am I doing it? When will I need the money? And how much money do I need? Yeah. So that's quite important, because when you're looking at your net worth, you got to start with saying, well, what do I want my net worth to be, so that there's a goal, and then work backwards. How do I get there? And if I can start with £50 or $50 a week, if I save that every week, and you can go online and use calculators online. I don't have to teach you the maths behind it, but you can say, okay, and if I get a 3% return and I put this away for how long will it take to reach my goal? And that's called just this basic cash flow projection calculations. And it's what we use in financial planning all the time. What we say to clients is we say, okay, what is your goal? What is your objective? Where do you want to go to? And we discuss that in a lot of detail and over most of the meeting. And then the rest of it is saying, okay, in your exact circumstances, with your risk profile, with how you feel about investments and pensions and taxes and where you are and who you work with, and your education level or your lack of education or how involved you want to be. There's a lot of variables that we take into account, and then we say, okay, here's a plan. You start like this, that's great. And then we review it all the time. And we say, okay, we need to increase it, we're on track, we're not, this is what is happening. Because remember, when you're dealing with assets, the valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday, and what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. So that's a struggle. Yeah. So there are strategies everywhere from £50 a week up to £100 million, and they're different. Right? They range differently from everyone, but and from country to country. To be fair. Different countries have different tax laws, so different vehicles. But from your point of view, at the sort of normal end, I'm not going to call it the low end because I'm in that boat as well. It's as tax efficient as you can get it. That's where you start. You use all the tax efficiencies, and then you step up into different things.
Welcome back to the final whistle here on Relaks Radio, where we are talking all things football. Just before the break, we were talking about the England 2, Germany 0 game and some of the players that really stood out for us. Now, obviously, we touched on Harry Maguire, we touched on Kieran Trippier, and Luke Shaw as well. Another player that I don't think's really been spoken about is John Stones.
You know what? John Stones, I have to give quite a bit of credibility to, mainly because he's been really holding his own in that centre-back position. One thing I will say, though, it was actually, was it his mistake? I think it was his mistake that almost cost England a goal to Germany, leading to, the Muller miss. If I remember the play going back and forth, there was quite a bit of commotion on the German side, and someone had made a mistake there, and I believe it was John Stones that had made a mistake there that cost, him to lose so much coverage right behind Muller. So he's lucky that Muller missed. He's very lucky that Muller missed. Otherwise, that would have been on his head, Yeah. But
you've got to cut in some slack though. I think all is forgiven. He didn't. The goal wasn't conceded.
Of course, yeah.
And I think John Stones would have learned from that.
Yeah, I do think so too, yeah.
Just that small 30-second period of football, he would have learned a lot from that.
Yeah.
And I think going forward, he's definitely going to be one that we're going to need to keep an eye on, because I can see him doing bits.
Indeed. Like, I look at John Stones and I just think, like, Man City has really shaped him really well in terms of being able to grow into his defensive stature. Like, he's become so much better in terms of just as a centre-back as it is. With John Stones, one thing I've seen with him is that his progression within the tournament has not faltered. It hasn't really faltered much. He's stayed solid. Everything that Southgate has put towards the team, and I've been slating him the whole tournament, but what Southgate has done towards that defensive line, he's made sure that they have stayed solid. There's organisation between the three at the back, and they always stay strong. They don't move, They always keep that back line solid. Within the Scotland game, surprisingly enough, even though I believe Scotland should have won, I think you said Scotland should have won as well, because there were some chances that they really did have, and their backline was so strong, like their backline was also solid too. Like, it's the same with England. They stayed strong throughout the whole progression of the tournament up till this point. They've stayed solid against the teams that they've beaten. Like, I haven't seen anything really shake off, except for those, the one or two off.
We haven't even conceded a goal so far.
Exactly, and that right there just goes to show the toughness that.
So
that
you can take Italy's undefeated streak, and we'll raise you a clean sheet record so far.
Yeah, straight up. Another player I'd actually like to touch on as well that I don't think we've spoken enough about, maybe not, but one player I'd like to touch on is actually Calvin Phillips.
Calvin Phillips, wow, okay, yeah.
Yep.
My opinion of Calvin Phillips, I'm just going to drag Murat back on real quick because he's just got back.
Yeah.
There are some internet issues. Obviously, we are all working from home right now, so it's there are going to be some technical issues. So if someone drops off mid-conversation, we do apologise. It's only a matter of time, hopefully, before we are live back at our studios. Calvin Phillips to me is he's the first Leeds squad since '82. First Leeds player since '82 to join that squad, and my God, is he suited for that role?
One thing I love about him is the fact that you see Marcelo Bielsa, what he does to those players is absolutely crazy. Like what he does to those players is absolutely crazy, but it builds them up for moments like these or moments within the final 20 or final 10 minutes. How is a player capable of constantly pressing so much when it's 86 minutes into the game? Half the time, majority of the players would even be fatigued. Some would be so slow, but you see Calvin, he's going at it constantly. Yeah. One thing I love about him is his defensive resilience. He's always, his work rate is amazing. His work rate is amazing.
If I could just ask the producer to drag Murat back on, because he's currently sitting in the waiting room. I'd love to get his opinions on this. Calvin Phillips is obviously...
Indeed.
Murat's just putting the thing. Southgate is at the wheel. Southgate is driving this bus all the way to Wembley, where we will lift it and finally bring football home. Obviously, we'll talk on that. We'll talk on that in a little bit, because obviously the last topic that we do want to talk about before we end today's show are England's chances of actually bringing it home.
That is a very interesting topic I'd like to get into.
We'll touch more on this on this squad real quick. Obviously, so the starting lineup for this game. So we had Jordan Pickford in goal, Kyle Walker playing right back, John Stones in the middle, Harry Maguire at left back. In the mid on the right, we had Kieran Trippier. In the centre, we had Calvin Phillips and Declan Rice, and on the left, we had Luke Shaw. And in strike, we had Saka, Kane, and Sterling.
Yeah, that starting squad right there. Like, to me, you know, when I saw that starting squad right there, I was like, I'm not too sure. Like, I didn't know how to feel about it, you know. But then I was aware of the fact that you're playing Saka. One thing I know about Saka is the fact that this guy can play up forward, he can play behind. He's got defensive resilience with him, and he's like almost an all-rounded forward. You get what I mean? He's an all-rounded forward with capabilities of playing defensive. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Yeah. So I looked at the front three and I thought, okay, cool. Let's see how this is going to work. So, he's back.
Like I said, guys, before, obviously, as is but we are all working from home to keep safe from obviously within COVID-19 regulations, and hopefully before long we'll all be back in the studio, so we'll all actually be having this conversation face to face, and we won't be doing it over Zoom, whether it's going to be on our platform where we're not going to be able to see each other. Hopefully before the Premier League starts, so we can obviously rip each other when we can all rip. Well, I can rip both of you when we do you over at the Emirates again, but that remains to be seen.
London is red. North London is red. North London is red. Come on, North London is red.
Murat, what's your opinion on Calvin Phillips, man?
For me, as I mentioned before to a lot of people, they were very quick to criticize Southgate about his selections in the first couple of games. I saw heavily people saying to him, like, indirecting him on Twitter, saying the lineup is shit. Why he's starting Calvin Phillips?
Whoa! Language, please.
Sorry.
Language. I know when we're talking about football, all the emotions come out, but come on, we got to keep it clean. We are PG. Anyone that heard that, we do apologise. Football is a very, very touchy subject to all of us English people. So if you do hear any strong language, we do apologise. Obviously, we try to keep it clean as much as possible, but sometimes we all think before we don't think before we speak, and certain mistakes do happen. So carry on. Try and keep it clean.
A lot of people were very quick to criticise Southgate on his selections, but I think after every game he's got it spot on. I think he's brought on Jack Grealish at the perfect times. He's made the subs to bring on fresh legs at the perfect time, giving the players like Calvin Phillips a chance. And I think a lot of people forget how good Tyrone Mings has been since Harry Maguire hasn't been there. I think he's been fantastic as well, and one of the main reasons why England have been keeping so many, the only team now to not concede a goal in a tournament. And obviously Jordan Pickford, I mentioned Luke Shaw. There's a lot of names in that team that deserve a lot of credit, and for me, the most credit has to go to Southgate, because like I said, I think a lot of people were quick to criticize his lineups, but just give him a chance, man. The guy's been with the squad for so long now. He trusts certain players and he knows what certain players are good at, and the sort of system that he's playing, like he's gonna know who his best players are, and whatever, just back him and get behind him, whatever selection he does or whatever sub he might take off, and just give he's been the most successful manager, in my opinion, for a long, long time for England now. So let the guy do his thing. He's done it. He's obviously taken England to the semi-finals of a World Cup. I think we're going to go to the final of the Euros and hopefully we'll lift that trophy. But just give the guy a chance and just give him a chance, please.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. Like I said before the break, like it's taken 60 years for people to finally have faith in England again. And you name me a time before that World Cup where you had England fans singing "It's Coming Home" in the streets. I can't remember a time, because to me, like ever since like we bottled it against Germany in the 2010 World Cup. Obviously, we should have won that game, but we bottled it. No one's really had any faith. Fabio Capello, Steve McLaren, Sven-Goran Eriksson, none of them have done anything. Roy Hodgson, none of them ever did anything for England.
Let's not forget about Sam Allardyce.
Sam, he was in charge of one game. It doesn't count.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can't. You've got to remember, like Southgate. I think this is Gareth Southgate's first managerial position, and he's working wonders, man.
No, I don't think it's his first managerial position.
I tell you, like, he was in charge of Nottingham Forest as well, I believe. Let me just fact check that before we do anything. No, Middlesbrough. Yeah, Middlesbrough. Sorry. So he managed Middlesbrough for 4 years, and then managed the under-21s until 2016. He's been the manager of the first team ever since.
I think a lot of people forget. Yes, I think a lot of people forget that he managed the under-21, so he knows most of these young players from when he was obviously managing.
I think that's important.
100%. And obviously, a lot of people also forget that he was once an England player, so he knows what it means.
Exactly. And obviously, that England-Germany game meant a lot to him because of Euro 98. Because of Euro 98.
Yeah.
Obviously, when he missed that penalty, that cost us that game. He was the reason for that. But he was forgiven a long time ago. But I think now he's really redeemed himself. And when we see him lift that trophy in a week's time, you can look back on this day and we can say that we predicted this. Southgate is going to be the most successful manager England have ever had. Because I guarantee if we win Euros, there's nothing stopping us going for World Cup next year either.
Yeah, I don't think it's a case of really redeeming himself. Like, everyone's human at the end of the day. You know, we look at Mbappe, for example. The guy,
he was forgiven a long time ago, but I mean, to beat Germany and wrong.
I think it's a similar situation to Mbappe. Mbappe's got so much more time to. He's already proved how good he is, but him missing a penalty just shows that sometimes the pressure can get to these players, and they are human after all. So some people will make mistakes, you know, and I know Kylian, I know his mentality, he will get back up from this, and I know he will come back stronger for the World Cup next year, and they're going to want it even more than this year. So
yeah,
precisely.
Right, we're in the final 25 minutes of the show. We're going to take a quick break here on the final whistle. If you want to get in touch with us, you can do so by calling 07852 473 473. Alternatively, we are live on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. So if you've got any comments, leave them down below, and we'll pull up comments and talk about them. So we'll be back after this short clip, and we'll see you after the break. Good afternoon. Welcome back to the final whistle here on Relaks Radio, where we are in the last half an hour of the show. We are talking about the England squad and just in general, like what the England squad is capable of. Obviously, Marat made a little oopsie there. Obviously, like I said, football for us English is not a matter of life or death. It is much more than that. In the great words of a former England player once, I can't remember the actual name, but it's nonetheless, it's still true. It still rings true. The name slipped my mind as I said it. Like, football is a very passionate subject, which is why I think football in general, like when we talk about it and we get so behind that England squad, which is why we get upset when they let us down. And in the past, they have let us down, but now, are England's chances of bringing home football greater than ever? Let's start with you, Kings. Where are you at?
If I'm honest, let me just keep it 100 right now. And I'm going to say I have never been more excited to actually watch England than I have been this year. Like, watching England in 2018, it was fun to scream, it's coming home. But, you know, after watching their performance and the way they dropped off, like, it was great to see some goals and be like, oh my word, yo. And then, you know, they fall off and then they bottled it to Croatia. Like,
yeah. Well, they didn't bottle it. Croatia just played up. I think in recent years, I mean, obviously that semi-final was insane. It's the first time I've ever actually been to a pub, and you know, it's the first time I've ever been to a pub actually been caked in alcohol.
Caked in alcohol? Wow.
Yeah. I mean, when Kieran Trippier scored that free kick, beers were going everywhere. Yeah! I have never seen so many people get so behind, so behind a team like that.
Do you know what? I've seen so many videos of the reactions to when Kieran Trippier scored. Like, I remember there was like a whole there was like one whole area covered with fans and a huge screen, kind of like a festival sort of setting. And when he scored, I just remember seeing the videos of Beers just going, what? Like, everyone was just spraying everything everywhere. But touching back on how I feel about England's chances this year, better than ever, I'm not gonna lie, has been the year for football for England. I feel as though they can go very far if they hit the finals. A part of me wouldn't even be surprised. I wouldn't even be surprised if they get to the finals, because after watching them play, admitted a couple games have been pretty boring to watch because it's 1-0 and just defend, protect. You know, for me, that's boring football. But I haven't been more excited. Like, I haven't felt so much more supportive of England than I have this year, because I have seen the potential that the team has. I've seen the capability. I've seen that this team they've got something different that the previous teams didn't have. And one thing I'm seeing that they've got right now is that they've got that bite, you know? They've got that drive. They want it. Like, you can see the bite in Sterling. He wants it, you know? You can see that, you can see the confidence coming out of Saka. This boy is 19 years old, but he's playing on a big stage pitch. Like he's just been playing football in the park. No essence of lack of composure whatsoever. He plays well. You can see that there's the strength in the midfield between Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips. They are not shaky at all. The defense is solid. You can see the bite in Kyle Walker. The same bite that we saw in the UCL when he constantly went at them, trying to put balls in to make sure someone could get a goal. He's pushing for it. This is the bite that I'm seeing within the whole squad. And to me, it's exciting to watch a team that wants the game, you know? You can tell the difference between a team that doesn't really care, like, you know, they're just playing football for playing football, and then you can see a difference in, and you can see that difference in a team where they really, like, you know, you can see a team that really wants it, you know, the passion that they're there for it. Like, that's why I'm really sitting behind England this year. Like, it's exciting to watch them. So I want to see how far they go.
You touched on Declan Rice. Obviously, I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent here. With Declan Rice. Obviously, there are reports coming out from Fabrizio Romano as well, obviously the most trusted source in football that there is right now, that he's rejected two contract renewals with West Ham. Chelsea are interested, and so are Man United. Where do we see Declan Rice? Obviously, Chelsea went in for Declan Rice last summer for 50 million, which was rejected by West Ham. But with his contract coming to an end, are West Ham going to play this, throw money at him, or are they going to seriously listen to offers now? What do you think? Is West Ham really the right team for him? I'll start with Murat.
It's a difficult one because they've qualified for Europe this year, so it's going to be a difficult decision for him to make. But I think maybe he might stay for one more year and see what happens. But I think for him to go to a club like Chelsea United will probably be a good move for him. Obviously, he'd walk into both of them teams without a doubt. I think he'd walk into any Premier League team at the moment. So I think it's a tough one because I know he loves West Ham. He's obviously the captain there. He had a fantastic season, like we've obviously mentioned. So I think it's going to be a tough one for him. But I think he'll stay one more year and maybe it depends. Obviously, with the how strong the sort of interest is for him as well. Because I know West Ham's going to want at least 70 million for him. So our club's going to, especially Man United, now that they paid 100 million for Sancho. And they're obviously discussing a deal for Rafael Varane from Real Madrid. So
United.
United. Yeah, they're discussing a deal for Varane. Nothing's been discussed at the moment, but there is strong interest from United apparently. So another reason why I think Pogba will stay is because if they bring in Varane and Sancho, that team next year, it's going to be unbelievable. So, but yeah, going back to the subject of Rice, I think it's a hard one with Chelsea because obviously he was there before he joined West Ham, and his best mate Mason Mount is there. So it's going to be a tough decision for him to make.
I mean, his current market value, according to transfermarket.co.uk, currently sits at £58.5 million.
Yeah.
Is that really? I mean, when we're talking about today's market, is £58.5 million right for someone of Declan Rice's quality? Because I'm under the assumption that he's worth a lot more.
Yeah, 100%.
Really?
Like I said, for me, he's worth.
He's one of the best CDMs in the league, man. Like you can't. You can't. I think if Chelsea or Man United are going to pay anything for him, I mean, even if he has still got 3 years left on his contract, you need to be offering something in the excess of about £80 million for someone of his quality. Just for the deal to go over the line.
At the bare minimum, 100%.
At the bare minimum, just for someone of his quality.
But like I said, I think he'll stay at West Ham another year. I think he'll stay at West Ham.
I mean, his current contract, according to Spotrec or Sportrec, his current contract is £156,000 a week, which I think is quite a significant amount considering.
No way.
No. Considering that West Ham are renowned for not really paying players that much money. If he wants to stay if he wants to stay at West Ham, for someone of his quality, where do you think the ballpark should be for his contract? How much do you reckon he should be paid a week?
How much do you say he was getting paid weekly now?
156,000.
I'd probably say 175. 175. Yeah, 175 a week.
No, I think where he's at the moment is perfectly fine. I think
you think so?
Yeah, I think 150 is about right. Definitely.
Because I know you guys are saying he should be estimated at the very bare minimum 80 million, or at least if that's what these big clubs are looking to pay for him. So I'm thinking if he was to stay at West Ham, I feel like there needs to be a way in which they need to be able to make sure that he's happy, if they need to increase his wages.
No, of course. I think wages is one of them, but in terms of bringing in players as well, I think that's another key factor for West Ham. Let's be honest, they're going to be in Europe this year, and their squad is going to have to improve. There's no doubt about it. They're going to have a lot more games than they did last year. So I think that's apart from wages. That's another.
Do you really like? I'm looking at some of the highest paid players in the Premier League right now, and Virgil van Dijk is on £180,000 a week. In your opinion, is Declan Rice at that same kind of level?
Okay, maybe not. Maybe my take was
150 is perfect in my opinion.
Yeah, My take must have been very terrible. I didn't know Van Dijk was being paid that much. Oof.
Yeah,
I made a terrible take there.
Fernandinho is being paid £150,000 a week. Luke Shaw, who is another Man United player, is on £150,000 a week. I think you're going to need to give Declan Rice about 170. I think £170,000.
170.
I think 150 is perfect for him. Look, at the end of the day, we know what Man United's wage structure is like. It's all over the place.
They've got the highest paid player in the Premier League, in David De Gea.
I'm surprised, to be fair. So.
I still don't understand why they paid. I mean, I get it because he did before he played.
David De Gea is washed up.
100%. 100%. He played a very. How long has he been at United? He's been at United since, I'd say, 2013.
He's been at United for years.
He's been, I'd say, about 2013 because he left Atletico to go and join them. So
he's been at United since 2011. So he's been there for over 10 years.
Oh, wow. So it's been it's over a decade. So David De Gea, I can admit, since coming to United, he did before he had his huge drop. He definitely did emulate signs of being an amazing goalkeeper from 2011 all the way through to 2013.
Don't get me wrong, he still is an amazing goalkeeper, but I just think there are better choices than him right now.
Oh, 100%.
Let's not get it twisted. David De Gea has been linked with a move to Real Madrid every season for the last 5 years. And it's finally looking like this move might actually go through this year. Man United have got another good backup in Henderson. But again, you're gonna need a backup to replace the backup, if that makes sense, or you're gonna need a first team keeper to replace the first team keeper.
Of course.
Who do they get in that sense? But we'll talk about that after the break. We're going to take a short break, the last break of the show here on the Final Whistle. If you want to get in touch with us, you can do so by calling 07852 473 473. Alternatively, we are live on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. So if you've got any comments, leave them below, and we will pull your comments up and talk about them. So we'll be back after this short break here on the Final Whistle. Good afternoon.
Again, but now, if you say to a child, if I went up to a child and said you've had one to forget, God, there'd be an inquest. Why did you reject my son? Well, I haven't rejected your son.
I want to talk about, how the generation gap, how much it's changed, especially when you check the youth nowadays in comparison, to people back in the day.
I'd say when I was younger, it was more disciplined. Not now.
In comparison to now.
Not at all. Not now. The way things are. Nowadays, the younger generation, you seem that they can't accept the word no, if that makes sense.
They can't accept rejection, essentially, is all you're trying to say.
Yeah, they can't accept the word no. So if you how did I do? Or you didn't do very well, and they get upset, And when I was a youngster, my father used to say to me, because I used to be sport mad when I was very young. I still am sport mad, but like participating in different sports. And if I had a bad game, for example, he might say to me, "You had one to forget." That's it.
Your dad sounds like a smart guy. I mean, that's the real fact of the matter. Yeah.
He'd say to me, "You had one to forget. Get over it," and that was it. So I dust myself down and do it again. But now, if you say to a child, if I went up to a child and said, "You've had one to forget," God, there'd be an inquest. Why did you reject my son? Oh, I haven't rejected your son. Or daughter. I've just told them that they need to buck their ideas up.
That's the truth right there. I mean, if you think about it, if you check the generations, like right now in the US as well, I've seen a lot of these things as well. In the UK, you get medals for participation. But what's the point? What are you trying to? Yeah, what's the point? Either you win or you lose. People are so afraid to put that whole notion of losing. When it comes to right now, the generation gap is just crazy. How much a lot has changed. Social media has taken control of our lives, and we don't even realize it anymore. We're crippled because of it.
That's absolutely right, Nick. Because, as you said, nowadays it seems that you get rewarded for failure. For the life of me, Nick, I can't get my head around that. Perhaps I'm just getting old and morbid. I don't know. I just can't get my head around how you could be rewarded a failure.
Welcome back to the final whistle here on Relaks Radio, where we are talking all things football. And as of right now, we are talking about England's chances of actually bringing football home. So,
Yeah.
Kings, obviously, we went on a little tangent about Declan Rice.
Yeah.
Marat, obviously, I want to hear from you. You were thoroughly behind Portugal the whole way.
Yeah.
Portugal are out. Belgium are out. France are out. Sweden are out. Netherlands are out. Germany are out. The only two teams really that could really pose a threat to us are Spain and Italy. But we won't play both of them. We'll play just the one.
Yeah.
What are the chances of England bringing this home this year?
I think it's very high. Of course, as we all know, we've had the easier side of the draw, as we know. But for me, like King said, it's an exciting England squad. There's a lot of young talent. There's a lot of players that have had the seasons of their life, like Grealish, Declan Rice, Bukayo Saka has been fantastic, and obviously being an Arsenal fan, seeing an Arsenal boy doing so well in this team as well just makes me even more proud of him and what the sort of player he's turning into. I mean, we've got a fantastic chance of winning it, but I don't want to get too carried away. We've seen that this tournament can cause upsets, like we saw with Switzerland and France. I don't think anyone would have backed Switzerland to beat the favourites at the time, the world champions, let's not forget. So anything can happen on the day. So as much as we want to bring it home and we know it could potentially be coming home, we have to be on our A game again today. And like I said, we have to go out there tonight and send a message to Italy and Spain to be like, look, we might have had the easier side of the draw, but we're here to show you lot that we're being serious about this competition and we want to win it as much as you lot do.
And obviously, Ukraine aren't a team to overlook. Like they've got Shevchenko at the forefront. He's driving the bus for Ukraine, and he's actually surprised me because obviously a couple of years ago, everyone would be like, "Oh yeah, Ukraine's an easy fixture," but they've just knocked out Sweden.
That's pretty crazy, isn't it?
Sweden aren't exactly bad.
Yeah, they're not the greatest, but they're not bad.
No, they're not. And anyone would have thought that we would have taken. Sweden would have done. It would have been the toughest game for us. I would have thought.
Right.
Anyone would have thought that, but now we've got Ukraine.
Now that I've obviously touched on what I think of the chances that we have of winning it, in terms of the lineup and selection tonight, if you was in Gareth Southgate's shoes, would you go for the same lineup against Germany? Or bear in mind that now that Mason Mount is back, do you go back to a back four and bring in Mount?
I'll bring in Mason Mount, 100%. 100%. It gives us more. It gives us that more attacking approach. You'd have Harry Kane, Raheem Sterling, Saka, and Mason Mount all at your disposal. And we all know that getting forward, and Jack Grealish as well. We all know that those 5 players alone.
If Mason Mount starts, Grealish is not starting.
No, but there's nothing stopping Mason. Even if we play like an attacking midfielder behind a front two.
Yeah, I'm saying if we go 4 at the back, you're gonna go with Trippier, Maguire, Stones, Shaw. Then the 3 in the middle is Mount, Declan Rice, and Phillips, and then the 3 up top is Sterling, Kane, and Saka. So would you start Mount? Or would you stay with the back 5 as we did in the last game? So you would have Walker, Maguire, Stones with Trippier right wing back. Luke Shaw left wing back, and then Phillips and Declan Rice sitting.
Do you want me to be right? So do you want to hear the answer that you want to hear, or do you want me to tell you the honest truth?
No, I'm just asking for your opinion. There's no
I think we start Grealish over Kane.
Ooh,
honestly,
why?
Honestly, Harry Kane. If we're gonna play someone like Italy or Spain, we need to reserve Harry Kane's fitness. Now, this season he's not exactly been reliable because he has been getting.
So are you putting up top then?
What, Jack Grealish?
He can't play up top.
No. You put Raheem Sterling. You put Raheem Sterling up
on his
top.
own.
Yeah, he's scoring goals, dude. Come on.
Yeah, it's true.
He's scoring goals, and Jack Grealish assisted that goal from Raheem Sterling. Raheem Sterling, for someone who's meant to be an attacking midfielder / winger, we are seeing more of him up front than we are in the midfield. He's doing more up top than what Harry Kane has.
Yeah, I know, but you say that it's because Southgate is allowing him to he's allowing him that role to basically, like you said, do what he wants. So I think him playing on the wing is far more beneficial for him.
You start Grealish over Kane and put Raheem Sterling up top because hear me out. Raheem Sterling, right? He's still young. He hasn't really had any injury that's really cost him a lot of time. Harry Kane had, right? The last thing we want is Harry Kane to go out there fatigued, to do himself in and injure himself. We need to save Harry Kane because if Harry Kane's going to start banging in goals, it's going to be now. We save Harry Kane for the final or the semi-final, and we go into that final we go into the semi and the final with Harry Kane up top.
Hold on a minute. Let's say, for example, you start Sterling over Harry Kane, and you don't make it to the semi-final. So why are you resting him? What if you needed him in the game?
But there's nothing saying starting Harry Kane over Raheem Sterling is going to be beneficial.
Wait, you say that, but Harry Kane got the goal that everyone wanted him to get. Now that he's going to be a lot more confident than he was before, so why would you not start him?
This is true. But again, if he's going to start banging goals in, it's going to be now.
In my opinion, I think England should go with the same lineup as Germany, and then obviously, if they're struggling in terms of going forward, and if they're lacking creativity, which they did against Germany, and then just bring on Grealish. I think with the five at the back, it suits England a lot more because of Luke Shaw and Kieran Trippier are fantastic left backs and right wing backs, so it will suit England a lot more. And obviously, it gives them that stability at the back as well. Having Walker, who's an absolute machine who can catch anyone. Can catch anyone on his day. So I think for me, in terms of the lineup tonight, I would definitely go with the same lineup that he went with Germany. I think he will go with that lineup. I think Mason Mount is a fantastic player, don't get me wrong, but I think him coming straight back to the squad might not be the best of ideas. But like I said, if we have to bring him on in the second half, then
we spoke about Sancho and him obviously not starting. Reports coming out the Telegraph: England lineup set to be back four with Jadon Sancho in contention for first Euro start and Mason Mount in line to return.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised with Mason Mount. Obviously, he was starting pretty much every game before all that COVID stuff happened, so I wouldn't be surprised if he did go to a back four. But in terms of Jadon Sancho playing, I mean, like obviously I've said before, he hasn't really had many minutes to play, so ineffectively, I think Southgate would be taking a risk in starting Sancho. Don't get me wrong, I think he's a fantastic player, but the form that Bukayo Saka is on right now, it'd be silly not to start him. Bring him on in the second half when Ukraine legs are going to be tired. But I wouldn't start him, no. And I'm not saying that because Saka is an Arsenal player at all.
I'm just trying to look at
for me, like obviously, if what you're saying, what you're reading is what they're gonna go with. So my starting lineup would be Pickford in goal, a back four of Trippier. But this is the thing, though: do you start Trippier or do you start Walker?
Right. Here is the predicted lineup from a website called Sports Mole. So Pickford in goal, Walker, Stones, Maguire, Trippier at the back. Rice, Henderson, Shaw, and Mount in midfield, and Kane and Sterling up top.
So that's five at the back.
Five at the back. Kane and Sterling up top, you say?
Yep.
And who's in the midfield?
Well, it might be Raheem Sterling playing behind Harry Kane.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I don't know.
I don't think that website is very reliable.
It doesn't sound right.
I'm just looking at some of the predicted lineups. Obviously, we don't know what the lineup's going to be until we actually go into the game.
No, of course. We can predict about 100 different lineups, but obviously it depends what he's going to pick. But for me, like I said, this is the thing. Like I said, if you go forward at the back here, you're going to have to drop either Trippier or Walker. Got to
remember as well. Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips, if they get booked, they miss the semi-final.
Oh, crap.
So maybe that's why he might start Henderson. That's why he brought him on against Germany. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
That makes a bit more sense now. So I reckon this is what's going to happen. If that's the case, what I think my predicted lineup would be Pickford in goal, Walker, Stones, Maguire at the back, Trippier right at the back, left wing back Shaw, and then he'll go with Declan Rice and Henderson in the middle. Maybe he might sacrifice Calvin Phillips. I don't know. Or does he go Mason Mount and Henderson, who both haven't been booked? I don't know.
Ben Chilwell as well. Like, don't forget, we have got Ben Chilwell on the ranks, and he could drop into that squad at some point. He hasn't started yet,
for me, you got to start Luke Shaw, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
You can't drop Luke Shaw right now, personally.
Luke Shaw is currently, he's in really good form at the moment. I haven't seen him make any mistakes just on the defensive end. Every single time I see him get that ball, always a straight cross into the box. He's always making chances. Yeah. I feel, taking him, not starting him for this game wouldn't make any sense. I feel like he'll just put a dip in his flow. It's good to just keep the ball rolling, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Ukraine are predicted to start with a 5 at the back formation. So
of course. I think for me, the main sort of with the players we know that are definitely going to start is probably Kane, Sterling, and Saka. So the front three we definitely know are 100% going to start, and then obviously Pickford in goal. But everything else is a bit sort of, we don't know like what's going on, and obviously like Josh mentioned, the whole yellow card thing is definitely going to be a massive factor in Southgate's lineup decision. So it'll be interesting to see what he goes with. But like I said, I think he'll play the same lineup as last match.
I mean, Radio Times have said Pickford, Walker, Stones, Maguire, Trippier, Rice, Phillips, Shaw, Sterling, Kane, and Saka.
So it's the same lineup as last game.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, that's what I think as well. But obviously, like you mentioned, if they're going to consider the yellow card situation, I'd probably take. You're going to have to sacrifice either Declan Rice or Calvin Phillips. If I was to sacrifice someone, it would probably be Calvin Phillips, just because.
Yeah, I'd keep Declan Rice off and sacrifice Calvin Phillips. To be fair, I'd let
Henderson. So.
Yeah, Henderson's a good player.
Yeah, exactly. It's not exactly like it's not a thing where we're gonna have to take out Phillips and Henderson's gonna come in and we don't know how well he's gonna do it. Henderson's a born leader. Like he's been so consistent for Liverpool over the last few years. And I think he's a player in that England squad that don't get mentioned enough for what he's done for Liverpool. So he's a massive character in that dressing room as well, and he's a key factor for him.
All right. Well, I mean, we're in the last minute of the show, so just quickly, I want to get some predictions of the scores. Obviously, England are favourites at 1-2. I'm going to go for a 2-0 England win. Marat, where are you at?
You know what? I'm going to say 4-0.
4-0. Someone's confident. Jesus.
4-0.
All right, Kings, where are you at? What do you think the score's going to be?
I'd like to say I think it'll either be two. Do we see a goal conceded for the first time?
I don't think so.
Nah.
The reason why I said 4-0, I want them to send a message. I want them to send a message out saying, listen, we're here to fucking sorry.
Language.
we're here and we're not we need to be taken seriously. That's the sort of message I want them to send.
Jesus.
You know what? I think
it's going so well.
I think the score prediction I'm going to say 3-0. And I'm going to say I feel like Sterling's going to go for the double. And I feel like I see a goal coming from the defenders. Yeah, that's what I think.
That's it. All right. Well, that is the end of the show. We will be back next Saturday from 11 o'clock in the morning, where we will talk about the events of the football, and hopefully we'll talk about England getting to the semis. So
Yes.
until then, I've been Josh. I've been joined by my Ratting Kings, and we will see you next week. Keep locked into Relax Radio, and we will see you next Saturday. Have a good afternoon, and see you later.
It's coming home.
It's coming home.
Coming home.